Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Weber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. I'm your host, Adam Roach, and we have our co-host, Miss Jess Weber. Jess, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm going to be a lot better once this podcast is finished, because this is going to be like one of those things that we're going to have to really dive in with our listeners with. We're going to be talking about Who's today.
Who's? Like the band The Who's?
What are we like, an owl? Is there an owl in here? Who's? Now that's cool. That was a good reference point. I don't know if our listeners are old enough to know the band The Who's. What do you think?
Oh, I would hope so.
You would think so?
Oh, well, if not, then, they need to go look it up on their favorite music streaming service.
By the way, speaking of music service, now I know you're not an Apple person. Yesterday, Apple, I don't have my phone on me, in the music space, it showed you all of the music that you had been listening to for the year of 2024. And I was like, wow. I listened to a lot of Morgan Wallen.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't use a service that does that, but I'm okay with it at the same time. Or maybe it does and I'm just not aware. I don't pay attention to it because I'm focused on different things, like talking to you. So
and it also tracks soundtracks. So I love to read and listen to soundtracks. And do you know what soundtrack I listened to the most this year? This is from a movie. Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer when it comes to this. I don't know if he did this score though.
I don't know. He's done a lot. He's prolific.
He's done a lot. I don't know if he did this one, but I listened to, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it. Oppenheimer. Well, no, what was the name of the movie of the atom bomb and stuff?
Yeah, it was Oppenheimer. You were right.
Oppenheimer. Yeah, that is an amazing score to a movie. If you like to listen to intense type music while you're reading, I do. Anyway.
I love that. No, that's what I primarily listen to is instrumental soundtracks of things because I find it easier to focus with that than things with lyrics.
Yep.
So my cheesy listening to is actually the Bridgerton series soundtracks because they use things like Lindsey Sterling and Vitamin C Quartet and things like that. So they play string songs of like pop, classic rock, pop, all that kind of stuff, but it's instrumental. And so it's fun because it's songs that are comfort songs that I recognize, but played in a way that's very calming to my brain.
That's right.
So, Dana
and I got married with a string quartet at our wedding because of Bridgerton. Yes.
That's funny. I had a cellist at mine, but that was because my husband was a cellist.
Okay, our listeners don't care about us. They don't care about
I know. We've gone down this rabbit hole. But you know what? At the same time, it's actually relevant to today's conversation. I know it seemed kind of out there, but today we're talking about who's, like you said, and we are who's that can be part of their world. So I think it is relevant for them to get to know us and who we are authentically as well.
That's right. So let's talk about this. So we're still in our goal planning series, right? So this aligns with our goal planning series. And as we've been working with the coaches in the community and working with the coaches and clients and all of the people who are planning their goals. And it doesn't matter when you're planning goals. You can do it at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, the middle of the year. Actually, I think you should look at your goals every single day, maybe twice a day. Though, let's talk about people, goals, and who you should align yourself with per goal or per Wheel of Life segment, right? So let's dive into what's the importance around who's in your life.
Well, we have learned through our own coaching, our own experiences, our own community, that we are better together. We
Yeah.
can accomplish more, we can do more, we can achieve more. And that is more in terms of revenue goals, that's in terms of speed, that's in terms of quality, that's in terms of resources. It doesn't really matter what, but
Right.
more happens when you work with other people, when you
Yep.
learn from other people, when you connect with other people. And so for us, when we're talking about setting goals, not only is it important to have those big goals, those small goals, like we talked about in the last episode, but it's also important to find people who have achieved those goals or are ahead of you in their achievement of those goals and align yourselves with them, learn from them, or connect with them because they can help you achieve faster.
Yep. Now I want to get right into tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So when you write out your goals, right? We're going to send you, go to my Instagram right now, go to Adam R. Roach, and I want you to DM me the word who. And this is what we're going to send you. We're going to send you a Wheel of Life sheet that you can write your goals on. Though what I want you to do on that Wheel of Life sheet is write the name or names or community or network
Mm-hmm.
of whose that will be the person or the group that you will lean into that will help you achieve that goal, period. Right? That's
Okay,
what
so let's I love this. So it's a circle picture, right? And
yeah,
it's got different areas of life. So let's
it's like a
just
piece
for
of
those
pizza.
people that are listening and not watching,
Right.
I want to make
Looks
sure
like
that they
pizza.
understand what this is. And so it's a circle truly that is sectioned out into like pie pieces for
Yep.
different aspects of your life. Example being health or spirituality or
Or
business,
business. Yes.
wealth,
Relationship.
marketing. Yes. And so, Adam, for clarity's sake and for this conversation's sake, should I be looking at that and putting big people down, like in spirituality? Should I be writing a John Maxwell or a Joel Osteen or something like that? Should I be putting my local pastor or my local, spiritual group if, it's not religiously based? Who should I be putting on here? Because I think we need to dive into that a little bit more.
Well, that's an easy one. If you're in spirituality, you better put Jesus. That's all I gotta say. Just put Jesus. Yeah.
Yes, and you
And
said we could put two or three people. So I'm just trying to understand, are we thinking like macro, I want to be like them? Are we thinking current accessibility? Because let's face it, like for example, John Maxwell,
yep.
while I know his name is John Maxwell and he's your friend,
Mm-hmm.
not everybody has a direct, connection to him. They can
Yep.
learn from him, they can read his books, they can listen to him, they can watch videos of him. Is that enough? Or does it need to be somebody you have a one-to-one relationship with?
Great question. So
what
I'll
I'm
give you an
asking.
example. So it is 2000. Gosh, what year was that? Maybe 2009. And I am in a space where I'm now starting to get into the thought process of owning real estate franchises, right? And I had owned a tennis business before, but I had just kind of earned my way into owning that. I didn't necessarily have to buy anything. And so I started reading a book called Titan. And what Titan was I think it was the autobiography, or maybe the biography. Which one's which? Autobiography is when someone writes something about you, right? Okay.
No,
I always get
biography.
confused. Biography. Okay.
Auto is about yourself.
Okay, gotcha. So either way, this was about John D. Rockefeller, and it is 700 roughly pages long. And Jess, I could not put this book down. I read it. I listened to my soundtracks. Hans Zimmer and I, we got deep together when we were reading that book. And I finished it and I thought, wow, John D. Rockefeller was an amazing entrepreneur. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you believe in his integrity, whatever, doesn't matter. That's not the point. So I read it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't stop reading this again. And so I used that John D. Rockefeller Sr., who I think died in like 1919, as a mentor of mine who was in the space of acquiring other businesses as someone that I could lean into. So that's the example of someone who is no longer, but it was about a book that I read that I did write his name down in the space of business building and development way back in the day. So more practical approach, though, is go find a living who. Go find a living who that maybe you don't have a relationship with, and that maybe you'll challenge yourself to go get in the circles to find this individual. I'll give you another example. Now it's 2013, and I am sitting at a Keller Williams event, and my dad always taught me to sit in the front row. And sit in the front row, and you take as many notes as you can if it's a subject matter that you really enjoy. And if someone on the panel, if a speaker connects to you, you better go introduce yourself, right? So that's how my dad taught me. So David Osborne, who is, and I don't know if he still is or was, the largest franchise owner within Keller Williams. He owned more franchises than anybody else. And he spoke up on stage, and ironically, he was speaking a John Maxwell 21 Irrefutable Laws lessons. And man, I heard him, and I was like, I would run through fire to hear that guy speak again. So I went and introduced myself, and he didn't know me from Adam. And I thought, gosh, this guy could be a true wealth empire builder of mine. So I introduced myself. I said, man, I'd run through fire to hear you speak again. Do you mind if I engage with you on Facebook at the time and stay in touch? And he's like, absolutely. And so that led me then to joining GoBundance. GoBundance then became this massive group of who's that I could lean into for helping me build my wealth, for helping me build my relationships, for helping me build my fitness and all these types of things. So if I hadn't connected with David Osborne, I wouldn't have been able to write his name down in the wealth building space or in the fitness space. I wouldn't have been able to meet a guy named Rock Thomas. I wouldn't have been able to do all these types of things because I was searching for who's at the time. And that's what I really want to say there is you have to know that if you don't know who you want to write down in one of those spaces, you at least got to have the inkling that you need to start searching for who's in specific spaces.
I love that. And I think that answers that question well, because you can have a massive who, like you said, that you don't have proximity to, that you could be like a learning or an inspirational type who. But then I do think that you need a proximity who as well.
Correct.
And I think whether that is a person or it's a group of people, like you mentioned, GoBundance as a group or a community, I think that allows you to then learn in a different way and grow in a different way when you have that proximity.
Agreed. Totally agree. Now, let's continue to go further into this. When you go find the who, this is what I would challenge you with. This who should feel like it's an upward reach. This is just my opinion. This is just the way that I think. The upward reach, because that upward reach, if you will, these people have been there before and done what you're looking to accomplish. These people are, as we like to call Jess, a chapter ahead or a book ahead, right? Or a whole series ahead of you. And it's an upward reach. David Osborne was an upward reach. John D. Rockefeller was a very high upward reach. Meeting John Maxwell and then writing him down as someone that I really, truly wanted to build a relationship with. I didn't know how to build a relationship with him. I knew I'd read a ton of his books. And so I started going where he was going. And now here we are. Since the first meeting, which was back in 2010, we're going on 15 years later of a relationship with the guy, right? So whose should be an upward reach, almost a scare you, this is just me talking, a scare you type reach to say, I don't know if I could ever meet that person.
So what I'm hearing you say is set big, hairy, audacious goals for proximity.
Yep.
How do you do that? How do you approach somebody like John Maxwell, for example, or David Osborne, like you said? I know you said introduce yourself, sit in the front row, but how do you do it without coming off as a creep? Hi, John Maxwell. You've written 90 books and I've read 89 and a half of them. Blah, blah, blah. And you just start like verbally vomiting on them because you're nervous because they do feel like such a reach. Right. What is your advice to somebody who is looking to start this process?
Great question. And here it is. It's a script. Write this down. If you're driving, push pause, pull over, write this down. It goes like this. Hi, my name's Adam. What could I do to earn the opportunity to have a conversation with you?
Wait, that was it?
That was it. When
I
I
don't
met
have
Dan
to talk
Martell,
about anything else?
nope, I met Dan Martell that way. Read his book, Buy Back Your Time, shot him a DM and said, great book. I've had many of our coaches in our community read this book. Here's my cell phone number. What can I do to earn the opportunity to have a call with you? That was it.
I love that.
That was it. What can I do? Who taught this to me? A mentor of mine taught this to me a long time ago. What you want to do, again, as you're reaching up to these people, you have to acknowledge the fact that they are busy, right? You acknowledge the fact that they're busy, and it's okay to acknowledge the fact that they're busy. Jess, I know you're busy, though. What can I do to earn the opportunity to have a conversation with you?
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge that. As John teaches, right, as Maxwell teaches, you got to get out of the people pile too, right? So you got to think as you're reaching up to these people, you're just another hand that is coming up. What's going to separate you? What's going to get you out of the people pile that would differentiate you from any other hand that is reaching up? So let's take Chris Welton in our community. Chris Welton established a process and a system around getting out of the people pile, and that was to send one Jordan with a note to someone that he wanted to connect with and said something similar. I'll send you the other shoe if you give me 15 minutes every time, right? That is reaching up and getting out of the people pile. So yeah, that was my go-to line whenever I want to meet someone that I'm reaching up to is, I understand you're busy. What can I do to earn the opportunity to have a conversation with you?
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's really a doable thing as well, because I think so often we will look at somebody who we want to have proximity to that's an upward thing and honestly freeze in analysis paralysis, in fear of judgment, or fear of failure because we don't feel like we've had the same success, and we know that we're chapters or books or series behind them.
Right.
And so often we'll be like questioning our self-worth and our identity of what can I offer them? What value do I have to this kind of person who the proximity would be a massive value to me, but what can I give in return?
Right.
And so I appreciate the fact that script is so simple.
Now watch this. So I was able to cut my teeth on this at a very early age in my 20s as a tennis pro in Beverly Hills. So let me paint this scenario for you. So I'm now running the tournaments at Beverly Hills Tennis. And so I'm the tournament director. And I'm sitting at the tournament desk. And all the kids and the adults would come in. They check in there, and we'd know that they were there, and we'd call their name, and we'd send them out to the court and where they went. And I looked down, and normally I would look up and make eye contact, but there was a ton of people coming to the desk. And I was like, just give me your name. I'll check you in. Give me your name. Check you in. And I don't remember the first name, though the last name was Hanks. Look for Hanks, find Hanks, look up. Oh shit, it's Tom Hanks. Hey Tom, how you doing? Nice to meet you, right? And then I don't know if you ever watched the show House. Do you remember the show House way back in the day? So
yeah, Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, Hugh Laurie. He was a client of mine. And Hugh, we used to play on court 4. Before House got big, Hugh was just another English guy, right out there in LA playing tennis. As House got bigger, court 4 in Beverly Hills Tennis was a very exposed court. People could see it. People would come by, and then they started lining the fence. And then he started getting mad that people were lining the fence because that was his recreation time, right? That was I'm running his butt off out there on the tennis court, and he's got now this reputation. He's a strong doctor, blah 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 blah. Now, this is the best advice I ever received in that space. So I cut my teeth on meeting people who were already superstars, if you will, on the big screen. Courtney Cox, she was one of my clients. And that was a fun one. And this was as Friends was going on the as it was slowly exiting. But there was a guy named Norby Walters. I want everybody to hear this. Norby Walters was Michael Jackson's very first connection to Hollywood. right? The very first connection, a good Jewish New York lawyer who had moved out to Beverly Hills, and he was one of Michael Jackson's first connections to California. And so Norby would always walk by the courts. I used to teach him every Wednesday at 9 to 11 in his seniors class. And here's what he would say. And we were always on court like 11. So he had to kind of walk down this middle aisle and all these people. And little old man, and he said, "Hey, Adam, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You're never too big to say hello. All right? You're never too big to say hello." And so what I heard him tell me at that point, as it relates to the conversation we're having right here, is those who's, if you're in the people pile and you're not separating yourself, a hello is, all right, that's just another hello, thank you, nice. But they're human. You got to realize that they're just human, just like you and I. When I look up and I see Tom Hanks, he's human, just like I am. He just happens to be an Oscar winner. He happens to be on all the big screens at the time. And these who's, though, if you can respect them and if you can appreciate for what they do, and don't make it about yourself, they'll offer a hand to you. They want to engage with you. You're never too big to say hello, right? That was Norby's advice always. And he'd always walk up and down. He says, "Adam, I know you're going to be big one day. I know you're going to be big. Don't forget, you're never too big to say hello." And I was like, I love that. And I remember that to this day.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also didn't know that you were so versatile in your voices. Maybe
That's
we need
the
to
only
start
one that I
doing...
can do. I don't even know what
okay.
that really is. I don't know what that is. Yeah, that was just, I've heard say that so many times. Yeah.
No, but I love that. And you're exactly right. I didn't grow up in Beverly Hills Tennis Club, but I did grow up in St. Louis, where I went to private schools, and I did have a lot of local athletes and politicians, kids in class with me, business owners, all of that. And it was the same thing. They'd show up to their kids' ball game and, be on the sidelines. And it's just, they're human too. They'd be in my Sunday school class, whatever the thing may be, and it's like, I just wanted to say that because I know that there's imposter syndrome and there's all of these, little demons that will, come in and creep in and say things to you when you start building this list that may give you pause, or you write it and then you literally never look at it again. You don't take action on it. And I know we talked a lot about in that last episode, taking action on the goals.
Right.
And it's okay to have big goals and medium goals and small goals.
Right.
So that's the other reason that I love this process, is because you can sit here and you can say, okay, well, my big impossible goal in spirituality would be to spend one-on-one time with John Maxwell. Okay, my mid-sized goal is I would really like to connect with somebody who's maybe a local person or the top of some group that you really respect that you're already a part of, right?
Yeah.
But you maybe haven't had proximity to them yet. Whereas your small one might be, hey, I need X number of hours. I want to get into this local Bible study or whatever, if it's a spiritual goal. So you could literally write out 3, and I wouldn't go more than 3, but you could write out 3 who's per thing and start, and that momentum will carry you, because you're like, oh, okay, well, the small one I can actually make happen. All I have to do is do this one small thing. The medium one might be, oh, I can make that happen pretty easily. I just have to put on my big girl pants and go make it happen.
Right.
And then the other one might be, oh, I do need to travel to this event, or I need to, read this book to then have a conversation about the book and do the thing to say thank you for the book, and then, suddenly DM the person.
Right.
But it's a beautiful thing to think about. All the who's that you write down are just people.
Yeah, they are just people. So I like what you said there in the 3. I would call that your slam dunk who, your stretch who, and then your dream who. Right. And you can probably put those in each one of those categories of this wheel of life when you go to my Instagram, Adam R. Roach, and you DM me who, we will shoot that over to you. But think about this. Your health space, your wealth space, your health, wealth, relationship, spirituality, giving, leadership, marketing, authority, whatever it may be, you're only going to be as good as what you know. Right? You're only going to be as good as what your past experiences and beliefs are. So when you go find the right who's that can pull you up out of that space, your world will change. So when I sent Dan that text, Martell, I sent him that text. We had a conversation. And the conversation went like this. I wanted to hire him personally to be my coach to help me grow the business. He shared with me his coaching one-on-one number, and it was out of the budget. And so I thought, well, I will work hard to get to that number and then hire him. And he calls back a couple days, maybe a week or so later, and says, hey, I'm going to put together this group of entrepreneurs. Do you want to be included? And I say, absolutely. Because I knew that there was going to be a who, he was going to be a who in that. Now, I'm sharing this story for a reason. I didn't know Dan. I read his book. I knew that the book, assuming he wrote it, because I know that it aligned with his YouTube stuff, was authentic, that I could learn a lot from being in proximity with him that would then in turn help build other aspects of my wheel of life. We went so far to build the proximity for the relationship that I flew to Kelowna, British Columbia after knowing this guy like only, let's see, that was March, and then May, June, July. 4 months later, I'm flying to his house and hanging with him at his house, which again, built an even closer proximity and relationship. And that has had a massive impact on so much of what you and I touch to this day, simply because I put him as a who in the wheel of life and took it upon myself to go ahead and step into an uncomfortable space, expose myself of, do I even belong here? And put my ego in my back pocket and say, I'm just going to learn. I'm just going to learn, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to fly. I think it took me like 3 airplanes to get to freaking Kelowna, British Columbia from Charleston, South Carolina. And it was cold. Actually, it wasn't that cold. But nevertheless, yeah, that's what you have to do. You really have to put yourself out there. Slam dunk goal, no problem. You can go find your local somebody. Stretch goal, okay, maybe that makes you a little uncomfortable. Your dream goal of whoever that who is, make that part happen, because your life will change.
I love this story. And, I'm thinking about what we talked about last time where we said consistency compounds and gain momentum. I also think that confidence compounds. And so we're talking about these, 3 tiers of your who's. I think if you can very quickly work on that slam dunk one and then move to your stretch before you move to your dream, I think that the confidence will grow in that space as well as you start to reach for those bigger people. Yeah. And so I'll challenge you that if it's something where you're like writing down these people and you're like, there's no frickin' way. There's no way. It'll be very interesting for you to move from the stretch to the dreams. And once you start getting in those rooms, you'll realize, like we've said, they're just people, and your confidence will grow. A great example for me was I went to an event with Rene Rodriguez, and he had several other individuals there who I had not heard of before just because they'd never been in the worlds that I'd been in. And I did commit to the opportunity at the VIP level because there was an opportunity to have dinner with all the speakers.
That's right.
And I was like, you know what? I want to be in the room with these people. Renee has a lot to say. I'm sure the others will as well. Turns out David Meltzer, who, the story Jerry Maguire was written about, very well-known lawyer and businessman now who has a lot of influence out west, especially, he sat down and had dinner with me. Had no idea who the man was. Yep. Gave the man 3 different business ideas in the course of an hour, because that's the way my brain works, and have been able to connect with him since, all because I made a commitment to go to this and make myself uncomfortable by sitting at a table with nobody that I knew.
Yep, love it.
And so again, it's the same thing of, I literally walked into this room. I knew one person at the entire event, and that person honestly was there for a different agenda. So they said hi to me and then didn't really give me the time of day most of the rest of the night, which was fine. I didn't go to be with them. And so I was like, okay, I don't know anybody. I have 2 choices. I can stand by this pillar and play on my phone, or, even be so bad and as in leave and hide in my hotel room, or I can put myself out there and start to get to know people and see what other proximity I can create. What other who's can I bring into my world?
It's good.
And I had no idea I was going to have that kind of opportunity. And yet I'm grateful that I took it.
Yeah, that's
So again,
really good.
You don't have to even know all the people, but if you know of somebody, start there.
And I want to go back to your word confidence, because I want to have the listeners right now understand the difference between confidence and arrogance. So just because a door can be open to a John Maxwell, a Dan Martell, a Meltzer, or whoever it may be, that doesn't change. It shouldn't change who you are, right? It should only enhance who you are. I have seen way too many times. I go back to Beverly Hills tennis days when they got to meet the Tom Hanks of the world, or they're teaching tennis to the Courtney Cox of the world, or they're in rooms with John Maxwell. They come out thinking that they're better than somebody else because they don't have those relationships. Now, I'm just kind of preaching here for a minute. I'm on my soapbox because that's a bunch of BS. You are not any better because you have them in your corner. You are now... You have the ability to become even wiser. You have the ability to become even more experienced. And you better be doing this for somebody other than yourself, right? Sure, they're going to help you build your space of that. I'm preaching. I'm on my soapbox because I've seen it happen way too many times that people walk out of rooms and their head does not fit out of the doorway. Drives me crazy.
I think it's funny. It's probably because we've worked together for so many years now. I was literally thinking about the same thing in relation to that, because I was sitting there while I was talking about David Meltzer going, crud, we have done a lot of name dropping, as some people would say it. Yep. But to me, there's a big difference. So when it's confidence and you've gained something from somebody, it's showing your work. It's giving deference to what they've done and showing respect. And you have the confidence to say, yes, I did learn from them. I appreciate what they've put into the world. I've taken something from it, and now it's helping me in my journey, in my path, which to me is very different than having a list of names that are in your back pocket that you're just like, well, I have Dan Martell's phone number, so I am the shit, and saying things that are arrogant based, or I spent dinner with David Meltzer, and so now, therefore, everything I say about business and wealth and anything else, you need to listen to me.
That's right.
And demanding some sort of respect because of your proximity to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I really am grateful that you got on that soapbox, and you can tell that I'm right up there with you, arms linked. Because it's such a thing of, it's not about the name. It's not about the person. It's about how they helped you be a bigger servant, a bigger, significance in somebody else's life.
That's right. I mean, and again, I may get in trouble for saying this, but it's okay because I don't care. And Keller Williams, they became Keller famous, right? Keller famous for no reason. And then they would get proximity to other people. And oh my gosh, as I was a team leader, the separation that was felt because they were now in a Gary mastermind or something. And I was like, stop. They're humans. They're just humans to help you get better, which in turn you should be helping other humans get better because you've been blessed with this relationship. Stop making it about yourself. Okay, I'm off the soapbox.
No, because I want to bring this full circle since we were talking about a wheel of life circle. Okay. In the center of the circle, we do have, written out your machine that drives this.
Yep.
But the key thing here that I want people to take away from this as we talk about goals and we, reference the last episode is that everything in the goals, while it is about you, should be not for you. It should be for others. It should be bigger than you. So when you're sitting there and setting a health goal of, changing your A1C or losing weight or growing to this strength or whatever the thing may be, your health is only a byproduct of you doing something else that's bigger than you.
Yep.
Your wealth goals, paying off debt, buying this thing, getting a second home, building passive income with rentals, whatever that is, that again shouldn't be about the dollars in your bank account, but it's about what you can do with the money to help others.
Totally.
And I think that directly aligns with our conversation about the who's. It's not about who's going to help you for you. It's about who you can learn from to then go serve and help others in that larger, bigger, impossible thing that we were talking about.
Love it. Yep. That's very, very well said, and 100% agreed, because that's what we are here to do. I mean, that's what the I Love Coaching community is all about, is to empower coaches to change and serve, right? Change and serve. That's the words that we use. It's not about the coaches. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's literally about building a community, building a network, building a group, a global group that understands all that they accomplish, all they connect with is for other people.
Well, I think that's why I fell in love with the I Love Coaching mission statement the second that I heard it, and wanted to be in proximity to you because, I mean, Adam, I know you were talking about our previous world and the celebrity, status.
Sure.
You were one.
Yeah.
And your wife is still one.
Yeah.
And, and like when I met you, people were like, oh my gosh, you're in relationship with him. You know him. Oh, the things. Oh my gosh, his wife. Oh my, and it's like, you're people. You're my work husband, and I'm like,
it's people. I mean, I don't have any hair. I mean, come on. Yeah.
But the point is like, it's so funny because I was not ever attracted to your celebrity status or what I felt like you or Dana could do for me. I was attracted to changing and serving 100 million lives. Yeah. And so that's the other thing that I don't know that we harped on enough in talking about choosing your who's wisely is what are they standing for?
Yep.
Because I would not just choose a dream who based on their success, but I would choose them based on their significance and what they stand for.
Totally.
And so I think
100%.
That's another piece of this when you're going through that. And it's the same for the stretch or the slam dunk too. Sure. Choose people that are in alignment with what you're building and what you're striving for, not just because they have a certain number of commas or zeros in their bank account.
Right. Or followers. Yeah.
Or followers. Yeah. Anything. Whatever their success is, that should only be a byproduct of the significance that they've had in changing or serving lives.
Love it. Absolutely. Very, 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 very true. So I think everyone has understood what we're talking about now. And if you don't, push stop, push restart, and listen to us again. Because this is all about, again, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with, right? And we've heard this many different ways. Same with the 5 books. But today we're talking about the people that you surround yourself with. Go out. We're going to challenge you right now. Understand your goals and understand the who's that are going to help you get and achieve those goals so that you can impact more people around you. That's it. Period.
Yep.
Go find your who's.
So final reminder, DM Adam R. Roach on Instagram if you want the who's paperwork. You just WHO. If there's anything I can do to help, Coach Jess Weber, SSB, I'm here to help as well. The idea is that, again, it's not about us. It's about how we can help you and change or serve in your life.
That's right. You want to be a coach? Great. Come be a coach in our community. We'll show you how to do it. We'll help you launch. We'll help you scale, and we'll help you exit if you choose to. Okay. That's all I got, Jess. Jess, you got anything else?
Nope. That's it.
Perfect. All right. Everyone go have a wonderful day. Go find your who's, and we'll see you next time. See you. Bye.